Blockchain.com. Invest like your icons with Blockchain.com. The National Medal of Honor Museum. Join the mission at mohmuseum.org. Buffalo Wild Wings. If it's game day, Buffalo Wild Wings is the place to be. Alltech Lansing. Just listen with Alltech Lansing. Perfecting sound since 1927. And by SWBC Mortgage. Customized solutions to help you meet your personal and business goals. Visit SWBC.com. Now your hosts, Nate Newton and Bobby Belt.
Happy Wednesday, everyone. Welcome to Cowboys Crosstalk. We are live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco. I'm Bobby Belt from 105 Through the Fan. I'm joined by my 105 Through the Fan teammate, Chris Arnold.
Chris Arnold!
The three-time Hall of Famer. I should be clear there, three-time Hall of Famer. As always, we've got the three-time Super Bowl champion and six-time Pro Bowler and hopefully future NFL Hall of Famer, Nate Newton. And our Cowboys legend this evening was a third-round pick by the Cowboys out of Boise State in 2012. He spent his entire 9-year career with the Cowboys, where he was a vital piece in the trenches of a defense that finished in the top 10 of the NFL for 4 consecutive years. Welcome to a Cowboys fan favorite, Tyrone Crawford.
TC!
Appreciate you joining us today.
Yes,
so
Nate always brings energy, boy.
Oh, yeah.
So time just flies by. So your last season was 2020. Which was obviously a really unique year with COVID and everything else. But, Travis Frederick's last year was the year before that in 2019. You see the news today. It's like he's going to be a first-time finalist or first-time eligible pick for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And so it just kind of shows you how quick everything goes by. Does it feel like it's been 4 years since you were last out on the football field?
It does not. It does not. Yeah, time flies. I've learned that with my little girls, that time flies. I mean, my oldest daughter is 6 now, and it's flown by. I don't even understand how it happened. But, yeah, I mean, that last year was kind of tough. It was the COVID season, no fans. A lot of bad things happened within the organization. We had our strength coach pass. That was kind of, that year really sticks in my memory. Since then, I don't know where the time's gone.
We were talking about this last week with Timmy Newsome, and we were talking about the idea of, when you walk away from the game, when you make that decision, a lot of guys talk about the first couple years are really, really difficult, where it's like you've spent, the last 20 years playing a sport competitively and kind of throwing all your energy into that. How long did it take for that fire, I guess, to tamp it down a little bit for you?
For me, going into the last couple of games of that 2020 season, I kind of knew that I was praying on it, whether I was going to retire or not. And that year I kind of got my prayers answered. What happened was I got a blood clot in my calf, and it moved up to my chest, and I was on. Those are two. I had 2 small pulmonary embolisms. Wow. Which is pretty scary. So. I ended up having to take blood thinners and for a long time, and with those you cannot play football. So the answer was clear. I was done, and that kind of made it easier for me after my career. Along with I had no time. I had 2 girls at that time. Mm-hmm. It was just rolling. We just had things to do. I stayed busy. And yeah, I really didn't think too much about football when it comes to raising girls. I put a lot of passion into that, as trying to be the best dad I can. So, it wasn't much for me.
Totally understand that.
Yeah.
But what I find interesting about you being retired, you still have some former teammates still playing. In fact, at one point there's this Boise State connections, like Cowboys keep drafting and signing Boise State guys. Who are some of the guys that you were playing with that are still on the team right now? We already know about Tank.
Yeah, so Tank, obviously, that's my boy.
Yep, Boise State.
Yep, but, other brothers I got on the team still is Dak, Zeke, Zach.
Yep.
Who else? I think that's it.
That's about it now.
Yeah.
The
Time
Final
is
Four.
flying, ain't it?
Yes.
That's crazy.
Zeke,
I didn't even really take it in until right now. That's crazy.
CJ Goodwin.
CJ Goodwin, my
Still
boy.
around.
Oh, sorry, Jordan. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
J. Lou.
By the way,
Jay Lou.
J. Lou, yeah.
Jay Lou, that's
Detroit.
I love him.
Ball
man.
guy.
Yeah.
And by the way, CJ has now taken over Tyron Smith's locker.
Yeah.
He's got the one on the end of the row right now.
Okay, yeah, CJ's a beast, man.
He is, man.
I
He's
also
still
played
around.
with CD. I played with
Yeah,
yeah. But like the guys that I was with for a long time.
Right.
those 4 guys.
Ty, when we look at, you mentioned just there how intense that last season was for you with, the blood thinners and the difficult year with it being COVID. A lot of people would hear that and go like, man, that's got to be the most difficult thing he ever encountered in his career. And anybody who has watched some of the great documentaries that DallasCowboys.com did with you knew that you faced a lot of challenges. It was not an easy path to get up to the NFL. Just talk about some of those things that you overcame and those pivotal points along the way to your NFL career.
I mean, yeah, just like any other NFL player, a lot of us, we got adversities we've had to face. And, during my career with the Cowboys, I went through injuries. It was tough for me to stay healthy. I started it off with an Achilles tear. Year 2 with the Cowboys, and that was in training camp, so I missed every single game that season. And going into year 3, recovered well and had a great 3rd year with the Cowboys. And then 4th year, I tore my shoulder, tore it up, got some anchors in that after the season. Next year, tore the other shoulder, got some anchors in that after the season, and then went on to, I think, play a healthy season, and then had hip issues and went on to fix those and got some anchors within my labrums and my hips. So
physical game, man.
Trying
to toss them guys like Nate around at the defensive line.
It's a man's world down there. You know that, Nate. You know that.
Man, so are these titanium? Are these regular steel?
Nah, these is just regular, and they got some ropes holding them.
Wow.
Nate, that's something that when Ty just kind of runs through the list of injuries, I specifically remember the shoulder tear. That was not something
I remember
that was not something
was
that
bad,
was
man.
I don't believe that was public for most of the season that you had been dealing with it.
And you were playing through it.
And that you were playing through it. And that was something that I remember Leighton Vander Esch had said that, one of the frustrating things for him in his NFL career was like how little people understood what guys go through and the kind of injuries that they fight through. Nate, in your experience, was that something that you ever felt like the frustration of is like, man, people don't really know exactly how much we're laying things on the line each week?
And the great thing about it, Bobby, is we don't care as players while we're playing. Mm-hmm. Now, I can't speak for this era of guys, but when we just have so much pressure that we put on ourselves as players till we're not thinking about it. Like probably Jim Meyer and Brother Brown probably had to tell him, hey, man, you just can't play this game. Mm-hmm. We took you through the workouts. You're not yourself. But the player thinks, hey, man, just give me a needle, give me a shot.
Yeah.
That's less and less
pain
these days. Yeah. So you don't really think about it. But now when you get out of football and people start attacking players, you think, oh, man.
Yeah.
You go to the doctor with a broken leg, just a regular broken leg. He tell you out 3 months. Well, he's going to be out 6 weeks, maybe 8 with rehab. He can't afford to miss 3 months. That's the season. Yeah. So the acceleration of what they do things and how we have to perform, that's what I defend. When I see a guy with a bad shoulder or something and he got to fight off a 340-pound guy, you know what I'm saying? His stuff is out of joint. Yeah. That's ugly, man.
Mm-hmm. Ty, when we talk about injuries that people don't know about, stuff where it's like maybe you're banged up, you're a little hurt, there's always the armchair quarterback that'll watch a play and go, well, they should have done this. And a lot of the time they have no idea what, the assignment was or what the keys were or anything else on the play. How much do you feel like whenever there was those sort of criticisms, when you would play, how much did you feel like, man, you guys maybe only see, 20% of the context of what goes into what you guys are doing on a daily basis? How much do you feel like fans had a good grasp on what you guys were trying to accomplish, whether it be assignment or injuries or preparation? Yeah,
I actually talked with some people about maybe giving fans a little bit more of a view into what we do because it is something that, a fan will jump on Twitter and maybe try and bash somebody and you would think the fan may think, oh, they're not going to see this anyways. But a lot of the time, it somehow ends up in a player's face and it ends up affecting, them throughout the week, maybe with their family or, how they carry themselves when they go home to their kids. And, you don't think about that as a fan. You think you're just sending a simple tweet out or, because you're frustrated over a Cowboys loss and so you want to bash somebody else and bring them down. And, that's always something I don't even want to use a bad word, but it's something I defend really strongly now, and just like Nate, it's frustrating to me, to see that. But And I went through it. You know, when I was playing, there were times where, you know, I had good games and everybody talks highly, and then you have the bad game and everybody talks, you know, bad. Just like kind of like the Cowboys last week.
Yep.
The tweets were insane.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, this week they're going to play great, and we're going to get a great response from Twitter.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I mean, it's just a constant defense. But that's just kind of what it is. You know, we can't be too mad at you know, the people that it's fans. They've made this sport.
Man.
Yeah, I mean, that's why it's popular, and so I love fans. You know, and I love every side of it. You know, because I love it. I love to hate it. You know, I hate it.
Right.
I don't know how to.
But you guys are not robots.
I get it.
Y'all are not a Madden game. Y'all are real people. So
Actually,
it's like some things kind of get through sometimes.
Absolutely.
With that being said, you got the Ravens coming up. It's going to be a tough team. They like to punish for their running game. Not going to talk about the Ravens right now. But when you were playing, what offensive lineman or running back did you say, oh, hell, here we go again? Who was one of the toughest linemen you had to go up against, or a running back that you said, no, I'm going to have to grab this guy real good because I'm going to bounce off of him?
Well, I'll still say Trent is one of the, like.
Trent Williams?
When he was going. But, like, running back, I got ran over by Adrian Peterson, like literally
all
ran
day.
over. He
AD,
ran on my head.
that's what he does.
Yeah.
Stop.
But the worst one to try and run and hit, and I had a couple free hits sometimes, was Marshawn Lynch.
Woo, beast mode.
Yeah. He was always just trying to take
Brad
the head off.
Sham said that was like trying to tackle a bowling ball made out of razor blades.
Yeah, man. He's something else. And he, like he said, you know, he's trying to run through your face.
Yes.
And, you know, as I'm coming off the block.
Right.
I'm just like, oh, damn, there's a running back.
Exactly.
You know, so, yeah. It was always fun, though. It was always fun. I'll just wrap up with just whatever.
Hanging on for dear life. Yeah.
Absolutely.
There you go. That's the way to do it. All right, let's take our first break. When we come back, we've got Tyrone Crawford here tonight, a guy who was a captain here in Dallas. Let's talk about leadership, culture, some of the things that he experienced, some of the things that he would help guide young players along with. Cowboys got a lot of really young players that are asked to step up. Get some of Tyrone's thoughts on that. That's next here on the SWBC Cowboys Crosstalk.
Yes.
Back to SWBC Mortgage's Dallas Cowboys Crosstalk.
Yeah, check this out.
Broadcasting live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco.
At SWBC, customized solutions for individuals and businesses are just a click away. Visit SWBC.com to learn more and start your next adventure. We are live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco for the SWBC Cowboys Crosstalk. I'm Bobby Belt from 105 through the Fan. I got Chris Arnold from 105 through the Fan.
Got you down.
The three-time Super Bowl champ, Nate Newton, is here, and our Cowboys legend this evening is former defensive lineman Tyrone Crawford.
TC.
And Ty, we were talking during the break a little bit about some of the things that you have going on, some of the things that you're trying to get started now in the post-NFL life that you're living now. What are some of the things that you're doing? Is it just full-time dad status, or are you getting some businesses going? What are you looking at?
Yeah, a lot of it is obviously raising these girls. I got 4 girls.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
It's crazy. But
you're going to be like Will Smith and Martin Lawrence at the door.
Nah.
You're going to say, hey.
What's the age
What you
range?
want?
I got from 6 to 7 months right now.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Ooh, you got to run.
It's wild.
Man,
it's
you got to
wild.
watch out for the bad little boys.
Oh, yeah. Trust me. I know. Mm-hmm. But on the business side of things, I kind of primarily focus on 2 things. One, me and my brother are scaling his business, and we started a luxury outdoor space company called Crawford Signature Spaces, where we kind of just take care of people's backyards or any kind of space that you want us to take care of on the exterior of the home. We do fencing, turf, everything, the whole 9 yards, trees, landscaping, grass, everything. And then my second thing is just coaching young men. I go by the work brand that I've always have, and I spell work with an extra K because, I grew up with learning disabilities, and I always had to work extra hard just to kind of level out with, other kids. So I took that with everything. I did extra hard work when it came to athletics, and, that's just kind of how I live. So I bring that mentality into coaching and a couple other strategies I use, for coaching young men and women in athletics. But I do a lot with D linemen and just kind of focusing on getting extra work over what they do with their schools and themselves.
You mentioned how you want to kind of pour into the lives of kids who are coming up and trying to reach the goal that you got to. I remember there was I was at a youth camp in Duncanville about 7 years ago with Charles Tapper. And Tapp was talking about, I was just asking him, like, what are you doing out here today? Why is this important to you? And he got a little choked up, and he was like, I want to be to these guys what Rod Marinelli was to me. Like, I want to do that. How much did coaching, whether it be Rod Marinelli or anybody else along the way, how much did that coaching make an impact on you and drive you to say, hey, I want to do that for somebody else?
Yeah, I mean, I was with a couple coaches the other day, and, I poured my heart out to them because that's where my heart is, in coaching and with coaches that have coached me in my life. There were huge impacts on my life, and I think that they're so important, so critical for young men and women, across the nation and in Canada, just to help them grow, help them reach the levels that they want to reach, that they aspire to reach, and for me, Marinelli. Everybody knows how I feel about Marinelli. He's master splinter. So, I love that guy. I love all the coaches that have coached me in my life. And I hope they know that. And, that's why I want to do something. It's just like Tapper was talking about. I want to help coach young men, women, and just help make sure that, if there's a goal that they want to reach, we figure out a way for them to reach it. And we put in that extra work to reach it.
So do you, from Canada, how much do you get back and do things back in Canada? How much?
Yeah, for when I was in my early onset in my career, we did a football camp in Canada, and it was primarily to tackle bullying because me, my cousin, my brother, the people that we that were running the camp were affected by bullying in our lives, or we even done some bullying, and we know what it can do and its effects. So we still try and carry that. Throughout our city and throughout our country, and just coach young men and women up in that aspect. The football side of it, I haven't been back to do much of it, but I plan to. Once I get this work brand off the ground, I plan to get over there and really make an impact along with, here in our local community here in Dallas as well.
So you talk about all these good things, and this shows why when you were playing with the Cowboys, they made you one of the captains. Were you honored about that? And is it a natural leadership thing that you have, or something that you work on? Because a lot of guys gravitate towards you to find out where do I need to be, what I need to do, and help be responsible.
Yeah, I mean, well, for me, obviously, I think leadership is learned, and my mom is a great leader and a great mentor for me, along with other people in my life. But, my mom is the first person that comes to mind of, I guess why I believe I was the leader that I was. She led by example mostly. She never took a day off of work, and she, raised me and my brother and didn't complain. I never heard her complain, at least, in front of me. And she might have done it, with her friends, but she never did it in front of me. And she's just one of the hardest working people. She worked in a factory her whole life, in Detroit and Windsor, those are factory cities. And to be able to do that and, not complain and do it day in, day out is insane. And yes, I was extremely honored to be a captain of the Dallas Cowboys. And it's voted on, by your teammates. So that meant that much more to me. And so, I mean, and also Marinelli would always have me reading books, and everybody around me would encourage me to be the leader that they knew I could be. Coach Garrett and all those guys. So I love those guys for that, and it's helped me here in business. And that's kind of the same approach that I take in business, and we just take it with the Canadian gentleness and kindness, but also
for those who don't know, Windsor, his hometown, is across the river from Detroit, so they're right next to each other. People go back and forth. They go to those casinos in Windsor.
We don't talk about that.
I don't understand that. My teammates love me just as much as that your teammates love you. Nobody voted me to be captain. I guess I lack some leadership.
This is actually a question that I think I'm really interested for both of y'all's perspectives on. So we hear a lot, analysis after games, whether it's their success or their struggles. You hear a lot about, leadership and who is responsible for getting guys prepared to play, or who's responsible for motivation or whatever else. What, in y'all's experience as players, how much of a culture, a team culture, do you think needs to be coach leadership versus player leadership, and players taking that onus just on their own and having the freedom to lead?
Yeah, I believe coaches can only do so much. The guys in the locker room have to hold other guys in the locker room accountable. And I don't think it just needs to be the captains or the leadership council or the leadership group. I think it needs to be everybody. If the young guy needs to step up and say something because it's on his heart, I think he needs to say it. A lot of guys come with heart where, a lot of guys don't. Like J. Lou, if he wants to say something, I know that man's heart. You know what I mean? And I know that man has heart to the dog's heart. You know what I'm saying? I know DeMarcus has the dog's heart. I know those guys on that defense have the dog's heart, and I know they're saying that right now. I know they said that after that film, on Sunday. I know they said that. And I know this week is going to be different for them boys because I know their heart. I know their heart on the defense. And so I'm excited to see them, and I'm excited to see that offense go too, because I know Dak's heart and I know Zach's heart. I know those boys are dogs, and they're not about to just let people run over them like that. So I'm excited.
Nate, what was your experience?
I'm echoing that because if you had something to say on our team, as long as you came with the right mentality in the right way, and see, Michael Irvin stands out. Troy rarely said anything, so when he spoke, everybody listened. Charles Haley, all that foolishness that y'all see, when it came time to ball, we didn't see that. It was all about the ball game. Tony Tolbert, Darren Woodson, we had dogs all over the joint. And so when they spoke up, and then Eric Williams.
Oh yeah.
It was a different world.
Big nasty.
Yeah. Pure legends.
Yes.
So then when they spoke up, man,
wait a minute.
Was nice.
Here we go.
It was nice.
It's on.
Because much probably like he was, if he's talking to you, he's looking you in the eye. He ain't looking all around and waving his hands. He's looking you in your eye, trying to get you to connect with what this team is about. And so that's one of the things I noticed. When he talks to you, he gonna look you in your eyes, so you got to connect. If you look down, he may say, "Oh man, this dude."
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He don't want what I'm talking about.
He can't handle this. He can't handle this.
Yeah.
It's there's a thought with what goes along here in Dallas. For both of you guys who have played here, there's a little bit of I think people talk about you got to block out the noise. Block out the noise is a common phrase that you hear across the NFL talking about their buildings. We talk to players in the locker, and sometimes they'll say away from the camera, they'll be like, blocking out the noise is a nice thing to say, but the reality is you're going to hear it here. You will hear it here. And that instead you've got to have the tools and the know-how on how do you handle that noise and how do you put the right context behind that. How did you handle that? How would you encourage players, if you were on this team and, there's a lot of young rookies on this Cowboys team right now, if you were in that locker room, how would you talk to them about handling the noise after a game like that and saying, like, hey, I know you hear it, but here's how you need to put it in the right context?
That's hard. But, I think if you forget fast, what you're saying, is true. If you forget fast, the week is better, and you go in and you go into,
let it go.
Yeah, you let it go, and you go into the next week swinging.
Yeah.
I don't really, I can't really come up with a message on that because I know it's hard. And I know it's hard. Like, that's all you're thinking about Sunday night is, oh, damn, film tomorrow is going to be insane. I'm not ready for that play I messed up here and that play I messed up there and the ball that went over my head here. But those are just things you got to let go. And I think that's a learned skill in the NFL because it's inevitable for every single player. You're going to have those games. You're not going to have great games every game. And if you do, kudos. I don't know any of those guys. But, so I think it's a learned skill. I think it's something that, you could talk about, but it may not help. I prided myself as somebody that, talked to everybody in the locker room. There wasn't one person I didn't talk to. For me, looking them in the eye and telling them everything, I was hoping they were hearing it, but maybe they didn't. Maybe it's just something they got to learn on their own. And a lot of the times that probably was the case. So that I think that's kind of what it is as far as letting things go.
Eric Kendrick said after the game what's that?
This is why these kids can't get past it. This thing I'm holding in my hand.
Oh, cell phone. Social media.
I thought you were your lovely wife. I was like,
social media.
She's encouraging.
Social media is dominant.
Yep.
And so you gonna hear the noise.
Mm-hmm.
If you have an X, if you got an X, or you got a Facebook, or you got an Instagram, or you got a TikTok.
Yep.
You're not. I'm 62. I got all four of those things. You're gonna hear the noise.
Yep.
But like you said, what is worse than that is watching the film in front of your peers.
Right, your teammates.
That is what is worse. What are they thinking about you?
Yeah.
Can you get up off your rear and go out and perform better within the scheme to help the team win? This right here, I've heard guys say things about one another, but they blow it off way quick. We thought it was going to be something against Parsons and the DB. Them guys blew that thing off, man. They blew that thing off
out
like
of
it
proportion.
wasn't nothing.
Yeah, that's a good
So these kids know how to handle
media.
it. Yeah, they know how to handle it.
Yep.
Eric Kendricks talked after the game. Somebody had said, like, is this a game you just kind of put behind you and you forget about? And he said, no. He's like, you need to feel this for about 24 hours. You need to sit in it and remember how bad this feels. For you guys, when you had a bad performance or like as a team and you guys would look back at things, how much do you say, hey, you need to sit in it, you need to feel this a little bit, versus you don't need to let it distract you and beat you down? Like, what is that balance like of trying to learn from it and have the proper respect for how poorly things went while also not letting it dominate your thoughts and kill your demeanor, essentially?
We did it on Mondays. We came in Monday. We watched the film. We listened to the criticism, because I ain't know, constructive. I don't know about constructive, but the criticism. and I started correcting it right then in my mind. And we went out and we ran. We did what we had to do to get loose, World Tub, whatever. And then we went home, and then Tuesday we was off. You try to be with your family. Then Wednesday you start working on it, and you just continue to build. Like you say, and that's where your leaders come in. Your leaders gonna show not only verbally but through their work that that's behind me. I got to get ready for this team, because believe it or not, these two teams like to run the ball, but they do it in totally different ways.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking about
Saints,
how the Saints ran the ball, they getting outside almost.
Right.
So they play this team here going straight
right
at
up the middle.
Yeah. So
Ravens
you
up the middle.
You got to focus. Each week is a monumental thing.
Yeah, and Derek Carr's not going to run for 85 yards on you like Lamar Jackson might today or this weekend. Let's circle back. Let's take a look back at what went wrong in the Saints game a little bit, stuff they can learn from, and then look ahead to the Cowboys and Ravens after that. But that is next here on the SWBC Cowboys Crosstalk.
Back to SWBC Mortgage's Dallas Cowboys Crosstalk.
Yeah, check this out.
Broadcasting live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco.
At SWBC, customized solutions for individuals and businesses are just a click away. Visit SWBC.com to learn more and start your next adventure. We are live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco for the SWBC Cowboys Crosstalk. We've got Chris Arnold, Nate Newton, and our Cowboys guest tonight is Tyrone Crawford. And yeah, look, we've delayed it for as long as we can, talking about a really ugly football game that took place on Sunday. Cowboys lose 44-19 to the Saints. And it was one where I think everybody kind of had a healthy respect for New Orleans. They put out a really good performance against Carolina. No matter how many struggles you think Carolina has, New Orleans put a really good performance out there. So I don't think it was overlooked or anything else. But still, I mean, for them to come in here and have a lot of the success that they did, you know, throwing the ball, the stuff they had in the run game, the stuff Clint Kubiak did, it looked like to try and work around Micah Parsons' impact. Just a really frustrating performance all the way around that a lot of the guys are talking about. Ty, what did you see in this particular game? And as a former player for both of you guys, when you watch that, do you watch it as players almost? Like when you're watching a game back live, do you have that player mentality of like, oh, man, that blew that assignment, or, oh, man, you can't be doing that? Or do you just kind of sit back and watch it on a more fan level these days?
Yeah, there's no sitting back for me. I have a problem. And, you know, I like to be alone. Like camaraderie in other football games are cool, but like with the Cowboys, I like to be alone.
You want to focus.
And it's a problem because I don't take my eyes off the D-line on defense. And even when the ball's gone, I'm like, okay, I kind of just like zone out. Like I couldn't even tell you like what happened on a broken play or something because I'm like I was done after I watched the D-line's assignments, and it's a fault. I don't like it. I really don't like it. I wish I could watch the game normal, but that's just kind of how it is for me. But I do. I enjoy it. I don't even know where the question went. I started to get,
just your thoughts of like overall thoughts of what happened in this game. What did you see out there?
And I know you say like it might not have been an overlooked thing, but I think there was a little bit of that, a little bit of the Saints, might be the Saints from last year, but I think what's his name, Kamara,
AK,
that dude was running the rock, and he's back for sure.
Yep.
And yeah, I think it was a little bit unexpected. But again, you can't put everything on the defense. You can't put everything on the offense. You can't put everything on the quarterback. So as a team, they just need to, lock in, focus in that this is how teams are coming. This is what teams are doing to us now. And like again, I already know it's going to be handled with the guys with heart in that locker room. They're not going to go into games like this no more. So,
yes, I'm agreeing with you 100%. You just don't want that. And it's been a reoccurring theme over the years where teams of equal talent are better come in and they just dogmatic about that run. They've tried to address it. Now the coaches have said the right things and the players have said the right thing. Now we'll see. From this point on, it's about being that dog, having that heart, getting your fits, knowing what your assignment is, and don't shy away from it. Don't shy away from it. Grab grass if you have to. Grab turf, if you have to. I'm serious because we have playmakers in that secondary.
Yep.
But if their worries, safeties, if their worries is coming up, stopping the run, and we don't mind putting our corners on an island, but not all the time. Yeah. Sometimes if we got to cover two, and they pressing these receivers out, so these safeties can be back there. Sometimes they can jump things.
Route.
They can jump routes, take educated guesses. But when it's all about the run, and then they pop you with a big pass like they did down the middle, it hurts.
Yeah,
it hurts. So you need to get this team, and I'm going to tell you how it can be done, because all playoff teams that play this Ravens team, they prefer this guy throwing. Soft rush. Don't get ahead of him. Don't try to run up at a gap and get by, because if you see a hole, he gone. Soft umbrella rush. Have one of your fast linebackers. Some people say Overshown. I don't care who it is. It could be number 11. But have somebody back and tell them don't take a step up.
Right.
Let that soft rush keep him in there. But if you happen to break, you want to be back off the ball. Because if you fall into that rush a yard or two, you already lost contain.
Yeah.
So you got to stay back. You got to force him to ain't no running. You got to force this kid to beat you past.
I like it, Coach Nate.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
Yeah.
Back to those Saints, because people have underestimated them, and they're finally realizing, wait a minute, this team's got something. Kamara's back to 2022 Kamara. You realize this Saints starting lineup has yet to punt in 2 games. They have not punted. They went 6 straight times down the field on the Cowboys. They did all up and down against Carolina. When the bench came in the fourth quarter, that's when they finally started punting. So the Saints are legit until proven otherwise. But what is also legit is this formula, because all these coordinators, this is what all the defensive guys and some of the offensive guys were saying in the locker room after the game. Me and Bobby were in the locker room after the game. They were saying, we got to address this tape because it's going to be out there, and other teams' coordinators going to use that against us because that's the blueprint now. Until proven otherwise, you run on the Cowboys. The Cowboys are looking for the pass because it's a pass-happy league nowadays, right?
Yeah.
If you run on them, make them stop you on the run. And like you said, watch out. If you're not back there, they're going to
It's hard to set.
And for the Cowboys offense, they really have to play complementary run-pass offense. You can't just say Dak and CD. The reason why is because they're going to take away CD. So to me, the missing piece on the offense is a feature back. You got a running back room, Zeke and Cook, they're in their prime, they were great. I think they're situational at this age of their career. And the other guys, I don't think they're considered feature backs. They're not there's no fear from defensive coordinators when you hand it off to anybody else. And until they have a feature back, they're going to say, well, we're going to take Dak and CD out of this. You might get Ferguson, some underneath stuff, but that offense will not be able to score touchdowns. You got your field goal kicker until you get a legitimate feature back. Somebody's going to get 18 carries.
The problem is, and I'm going to maintain this, let's wait 3 or 4 more games to see if our offensive line gel.
Yep.
You know, we keep jumping the gun. If you expected these Cowboys, I expected after about 6 or 7 games, what I was hoping for was if it's 6 games, 3-3. If it's 4 games, 2-2. This is what I'm hoping, because you want to ignore we have a 3rd-round pick center, and you want to ignore, even though he's a 1st-round pick, our left tackle. Those are 2 of the most key positions on the O-line. They didn't play well, fellas.
Nope.
So
and Terrence Steele didn't either.
The thing that we have to do is let this offensive line gel. This could be an ugly season. Can you put up with it?
I'm going to tack on something with this, because this is what the dilemma was this last game. The reason you kept seeing all the different running backs coming in and out is because the offensive line hasn't gelled yet, and they couldn't expect those other running backs to pass protect the way Zeke could. You follow where I'm going? So even though they were trying to pass, because the offensive line isn't settled in yet, they had to have somebody back there that could protect Dak, and that was Zeke. And he wasn't being used. First of all, like I said, at his point of his career, he's not a feature back. He's not going to get all the carries. But you can't let Dak sit back there if the offensive line is in jail, just like what you were saying.
Nate, I want to ask Nate you this question. The question from the perspective of the guy who has to be on the offensive line, and Ty, I'd like you to weigh in on the perspective of a defensive lineman who's trying to take advantage of this potentially. When you've got 2 young players like that, 2 rookies on a unit that is so reliant on cohesion like the offensive line is, how much is communication on things like just the different games and stunts and twists and stuff like that? How much is that communication going to be the vital part of this? And maybe where you're going to see some of that leakage where it's like that gelling is not completely there yet. And how much? So
it's everything. When you played and y'all had Tyrone and all of those guys, I literally see them walk up to the line and not say a word. After about 3 years with Tyrone and all of those guys and Zach and the center, they'll walk Travis up there and would not say a word.
Because they know.
They knew what each other's was. But now.
But Travis is a GOAT, man.
Yeah, he is, man.
He's calling
I'm telling you. And so I was used to watch, I would be amazed because they would do that. But now it's like, you know what, if you have to say, hey, Guyton, that's your guy. Look out. Hey, if this guy hit the A-gap soon, you got to come down. But if he's coming from back there, you still got to drop out. You got to tell him now.
Yeah.
I tell DeMarcus, as soon as we see all that, I'm like, DeMarcus,
Oh,
we're getting this one.
Yeah, you got to communicate. You can't be shy about talking, because every one of our offensive linemen this game had 2 or 3 bad plays, individually.
Yeah.
So you got to be talking. You have to be, and this Ravens team has that ability with their front 4 to give you problems at different times. They're good as a unit, and they're good individually.
Ty, what did you feel like whenever you knew you had a young and experienced player across from you guys on the offensive line? What did you feel like were areas you could usually exploit with young players? Was it like, their hand usage coming into the league isn't usually great? Or is it, hey, they're not going to recognize some of these things that we're trying to disguise or some of these games we're trying to play?
Yeah, I mean, games are always critical. But, at that point, we call them the fish. I'm sorry. Like game 1, their 2 tackles were out. Both ends knew they had fishes, right?
Yeah.
So they're going there wide eyes, and they're going to know that, we're throwing our best. Sometimes you give your better game when you know it's somebody that you're just going to take complete advantage of, right?
Right.
But that being said, that has to be the mindset with every player. But yeah, I mean, as far as taking advantage of certain things, I mean, there's just many things that you're thinking about when that's the case. You set it up all week. You're not just thinking about it on game day. You guys have talked about that all week. You got the film guys coming in and telling you, the scouts, and then your coaches, and everybody's just harping on it. So those are things that you prepare for and you go and attack them with all week.
When we come back, let's put a bow on the Saints game a little bit. Look ahead to the Ravens, preview that one. That's next on the SWBC Cowboys Crosstalk.
Back to SWBC Mortgage's Dallas Cowboys Crosstalk.
Yeah, check this out.
Broadcasting live from the Cowboys Club at the Star in Frisco.
At SWBC, customized solutions for individuals and businesses are just a click away. Visit SWBC.com to learn more and start your next adventure. Last segment here for the Cowboys Club in the Star in Frisco for the SWBC Cowboys Crosstalk. Bobby Belt from 105 to the Fan, joined by Chris Arnold from 105 to the Fan, Nate Newton, and our guest tonight is Tyrone Crawford. So before we ask one more question here about the Saints game, I got to notice that when I saw you walking around, you were wearing a Cowboys jersey.
Yes,
I was like, oh, did he come in here wearing the 98? And I see 97. And I thought, oh, is that Oso Diggs do it? No, it's not.
Nope.
It is Jason Hatcher.
Yeah.
Big Hatcher fan, are
Hatch
you?
in the middle.
Big bro, man. I mean, those guys, my big bros, man. I look up to him so much. Jason Hatcher. Obviously, we still golf together, and I love that man. He's meant so much to me in my life. But also like Kenyon Coleman, Jay Ratliff, all those guys. Anthony Spencer, Marcus Spears, man. They did so much for me early on in my career. and the impact that they had just, in those couple years was great. So I always try and represent. I have about 15 jerseys and all just my boys and just people that, mean a lot to me. So I'll pop out with a DeMarcus jersey, a Prescott jersey, a Martin jersey, all that. It's all coming out.
That's awesome. So before we look at the Ravens game, we'll ask y'all one more question, and for both of y'all, Nate and Ty, on this. And it's maybe a little bit of the uncomfortable question. So Mike McCarthy is in the last year of his deal. That's been discussed a ton this offseason. And Ty, you played in the season in 2019 where everybody had an awareness Jason Garrett was in the last year of his deal. Nate, I know you played on a team in 1997 where y'all knew Barry Switzer's job was on the line. How difficult is it, and do you guys feel that weight as players? Like, do you feel the magnification of big losses like the one on Sunday, knowing, hey, somebody's job is on the line here?
Yeah, I mean, maybe not necessarily feel it like on the players, but we do feel for the coaches, and we notice it. Say we have a big loss, the facility, there's the energy. Everyone feels the energy, and in meetings, everybody feels the energy. Coaches are a little bit more intense, even when it's only game 2. As it gets later in the season and things might be still rocky, a little shaky later in the season, then it gets even worse. But obviously you don't want to see the coaches that you've grown to love get fired or anything happen to them in that sense. But it's the nature of the business, and that's something you learn, especially when you're young and you go through some coaching changes. I didn't have to go through that, obviously. Right. I went through some position coaching changes and coordinators and stuff like that, but Coach Garrett was my coach all the way for 8 years, and then my 9th year I had McCarthy. But yeah, I mean, I know it's stressful on them, not necessarily as stressful on players that know they're secure, but it's stressful to the point that you don't want to see, a coach lose their job. You don't want to see anybody, lose their job in the NFL.
I feel bad for Coach McCarthy because I think, that's what I personally think, is when we got rid of Coach Switzer, he was there short term anyway.
Yeah.
He was there.
To hold it down.
Yeah, 3 years, 4 years maybe. Coach was there. But my thing is, you want to blame Coach Switzer with a bunch of old guys. We were through. My team, my last few years, we were through. We were just falling ducks every year. Mm-hmm. 2 or 3 of us would get cut, released, traded. We were through. I feel right now with all these young guys that Coach has, mixed with older guys. It ain't no in-between guys. There ain't a lot of them. No. In-between guys. So Coach McCarthy's done a hell of a job. And if this thing fall off the wheels, I would ask Mr. Jones, please look hard before you let the fans, and I know they will, they don't let the fans dictate what they do, and thank God for that. But this guy has given you, season after season of winning. Now, I know everybody keep talking about the Super Bowl.
I agree.
But I ask people like this right here. Y'all keep talking about Super Bowl. It's a stair step for some teams. And you have to get to the NFC Championship game. This thing ain't just, you just don't walk into this league and win. This guy has a blueprint along with Will McClay, how to do this thing. Coach McCarthy. I know one man, Dak going to be sorry he gone. Because they got a click there. So, you can throw away guys or you can, get rid of guys, but you better be careful that you ask Philadelphia about Andy Reid.
Right, yeah.
Ask them about that.
Last
that's a good analogy.
Last 3 minutes here. Just want to kind of go down the road. Chris, Nate, and Ty will finish up the big game against Baltimore, obviously. A lot on the line for both these teams. Baltimore's 0-2. They've got a really difficult schedule coming up even after Dallas. What do you want to see from the Cowboys this week? Response, some of your expectations for this game? They've
got to respond because Baltimore is notorious for being a physical team. Everybody knows their defense is always physical. Saad Yusuf from The Athletic, I was talking about him today in the locker room. He found a stat that the Ravens has led the NFL in rushing, the team, not individual players, as a team, every year since the early 2000s. It's like, wait a minute, not just the back here and there and every year overall that team is the leading rushing team in the NFL. So in other words, they know what to do with that ball. And I'm looking in particular with Derrick Henry because Derrick Henry had moved to Dallas, said he would have loved to play for the Cowboys, but nobody even called. And I'm like, he's going to be motivated. So it's going to be a big, big test. And I'm not going to say the whole season rides on this, but it's going to be uncomfortable. if the Cowboys wind up 1-2 and the Ravens wind up 1-2.
Nate, what you got?
Hey, I just think it's right here, the soft umbrella, make this kid throw to beat you and run just enough to keep him honest. You ain't got to run the whole game, but run just enough to keep him honest on certain parts of the field. I think we should be okay.
Ty, what are you looking for?
Yeah, I want to see heart. I want to see heart out of the whole team, especially the defense and the defensive line. I know DeMarcus is going to get them boys rowdy, but I definitely want to see, if it gets physical, get physical back. I don't even care if you have to punch somebody in the chin. Get rowdy up there and get that defense hype. And I think, with DeMarcus and that leadership there on the defense, it's inevitable. It's going to happen.
Real quick here as we're wrapping up, you mentioned the toughness and the physicality and stuff like that. We always hear defense talk about, like, hey, you want to be physical, you want to impose your will, you don't want to feel that. Did you feel like, in terms of what you saw over your NFL career, was toughness and physicality, was that something that you saw guys get coached out of them, or did you feel like that had to be an innate trait within somebody that you just acquire that trait when you get that player?
A lot of it had to be in the nature. For sure. I saw guys where coaches tried to, dig to get the dog out of them, to get the heart, pull the heart, the heart of the player out, and it just never came, So I think it has to be, instilled, growing up and, through adversity and, trials and tribulations in your life. And, I think that's what makes a lot of great defensive players, at least, for sure.
Where can the people keep up with you on social media or the other things you got going on in your life now?
Yeah, man, I'm all over social media. T Crawford 98 for both X and Instagram.
IG.
And then I'm gonna blow up the social media trade. I'm into these businesses, and I think social media is a walking billboard. So I'm just gonna kind of just keep doing my social media thing, and hopefully it bounces into the business and rotates, throughout my life for sure.
Y'all make sure to follow Ty on social media. Thank you to Tyrone Crawford, to Nate Newton, and to Chris Arnold for all the guys here. I'm Bobby Bell. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll talk to you guys again next week.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!